Uh, we had a pretty good week of practice. It's obviously been gorgeous outside. The mornings have been low wind. I'm glad we aren't practicing in the afternoon this week because I know it was way up the last couple days. But they've been warm. Our only issue was just that we had a short week of practice because after the turnaround from Boston and then going to New Jersey this weekend, we only really had 3-4 days to practice. We've actually kind of changed our entire rig and philosophy on the rig to see if we can't get a little bit more speed for the coach's side, and then making it a little less punishing into any headwinds or head currents. I think that was part of, we were just too heavy. So we're kind of reassessing where we're set up and then building from that. So the regatta was started and run by Villanova's women's team. I want to say in the early 2000s, late 90s. I've actually won, or as an athlete, I won twice at the Knecht Cup. So it's been around for a while, if that gives you any kind of reference. It's a pretty good weekend. It's on the Cooper, so we know the course. It's a lot of teams, so I think there are 52 teams total this year. It runs the gamut of, like for us, it's looking at Drexel and our CAA competition. It's pretty much everybody but UCSD, Northeastern, and Monmouth are going to be there. So it's a really good chance to kind of look at our CAA competition. Then we are multiple races across the 2 days. That's another thing we need to get a little bit more practice in. And then looking at how we're going to approach the rest of the season with those multiple races and get a good measure of what we need to do in order to be as competitive as we want to be in the CAA this year. I don't think it puts any different pressure. I think it's getting a little bit different race experience. When we look at conference championships, this year we're going to heats and a finals. It's really kind of the first places in the last couple of years we've had 2 races in a day or had a multi-team 5-lane, 6-lane wide start. So I think really it's less about the idea of the cup and more about the experience of let's get into a bigger race. This is really our first big race coming out of COVID that looks like it's going to have multiple heats, multiple finals, semifinals, so that we can kind of get used to that 6 across full speed. I think it just makes the races, it's going to make them more competitive across the board. Even if you get into a dual or a tri meet, if kind of someone breaks away, the race kind of loses some of its intensity. Whereas in a 6 lanes across, more than likely, unless you're really off the pace, you are going to be in the race with someone and have to find the go button at the right time. So I think having that kind of experience and pressure, the chaos of a 6-boat start is significantly different than 2 or 3 boats. It's looking like it's going to be pretty warm. Big difference from Boston. I think the low's 52 this weekend compared to 34. So that's a huge difference. High of 72. So one of the things we're going to have to kind of deal with is actually it being warm as opposed to it being cold and the sun being out. The biggest concerns I would say for this weekend are weather-wise. The wind looks fine. It looks like there might be some scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. That might get to be problematic because our semifinal for the 8 is in the afternoon. So we're going to have to look at kind of what's happening and what the progression system is to make sure that we position ourselves through the morning, that if they have to cancel the afternoon, we have we're in the race we want to be in. I would really like to see us perform without any reservations. I feel like when we were at Boston, we let a lot of stuff get to us and not be focused and row to our best of our abilities. We rode to our most base level, and I want to see us rise and row to our best level. As far as where that shakes out, I don't have a good feeling after last weekend about where our speed is, where I know where I think it is, but I also know what we put down on a course, and I think they are very different. And so we need to actually start showing that. Whether that means we're winning or wherever we're placed, we need to actually put that speed down and start finding out what we need to do. So when splitting the team, one of the like good and bad problems if you have a lot of people on the team is with the Knecht Cup being a multi-day regatta, hotels and everything, there's really costs involved that we have to be mindful of. So with them going to Michigan State, they'll see Michigan State, Tulsa, Temple, and I'm leaving another team off, but they'll get to see some really good 3V competition that is going to race the CAA, and it'll give us a single day. They can go out, get a good race, get a turnaround, come back. It's a pretty standard practice in rowing to get more people, more opportunities. When you have 50, 60 people on a team, you have to find creative ways to make sure everyone can get as many races as possible. So this is a good chance for them to race some good competition and to excel rather than be at home and not doing any practice or racing. For them, I really expect, like, they rowed pretty hard last weekend. I would like to see them row a little bit cleaner, and then I would like to see them be a little bit faster through the middle of the race and a little bit more poised through the middle of the race. So George Mason Invite in 2 weeks. That is a Sunday race, so we'll actually travel on Saturday. I'm looking forward to getting a good week of practice next week. So really, we're going to see some of the same teams, some of different teams, and building that to go. It kind of depends how we race this weekend. Can we improve in the next week, which we have a little more practice time? I think we can get some things done and then take that into George Mason, and that's going to be a heat and final as well. Again, trying to continue to push that effort level.